Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6 p.m. here in Cairo. Time to have a look on the latest stories from Channel 2. I'm Abir Mitwalli. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on Monday received the credentials of 23 ambassadors to Egypt. The new ambassadors were from Hungary, Japan, Pakistan, Angola, Guinea, New Zealand, Poland, India, Denmark, Colombia, Belarus, UK, Norway, Vietnam, Ireland, Georgia, United Arab Emirates, Spain, Italy, Liberia, Luxembourg, Nicaragua, and San Marino. The presidential spokesperson said the president welcomed the new ambassadors, saying Egypt appreciates distinguish its relations with their countries and is keen to consolidate bilateral cooperation in various fields. The head of state also wished the ambassadors success in fulfilling their diplomatic missions. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli stressed the keenness to ensure a permanently assuring balance of strategic commodities and pumping the necessary quantities into markets to meet the citizens' needs. During a meeting attended by a number of concerned ministers, Madbouli followed up on the procedures for providing strategic commodities in coordination with various bodies. The meeting reviewed a number of labor access to manage the strategic commodities and providing them in the markets, as well as path of cooperation with various international institutions. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli discussed the investment opportunities to be offered during the coming phase and cooperation files with Arab countries. This came during a meeting held by Madbouli with the Ministers of Finance and Investment, where they stressed the cooperation with Arab countries is one of the important axes for enhancing Arab integration in the fields of industry and infrastructure. The meeting also asserted that the government is exerting its utmost efforts to create an attractive climate for local and foreign investments and also work to provide more incentives and facilities for various investment sectors, encouraging investors to pump their investments. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli followed up a number of ongoing investment projects in Port Said. This came during the meeting with the Minister of Local Development and Governor of Port Said, who reviewed a number of projects in the governorate that will be carried out according to developmental vision set by the state. At the end of the meeting, Madbouli directed to form a committee of ministers and concerned bodies to discuss the investment offers from the companies. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli followed up a number of joint files between local development and finance ministers. The meeting tackled financial files regarding services carried out by governorates in the framework of developing resources of the governorates to improve the service offered by the citizens. The meeting also reviewed the governorate's support in carrying out local development projects, developing local economy, and boosting decentralization to achieve sustainable development reflected on the citizens' lives. Egypt continued flocking aid to the Gaza Strip on Monday through a secondary gate of the Rafah land port between the country and Israeli-occupied Palestinian city of Rafah in southern Gaza, within the framework of efforts to alleviate the suffering of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. The 59th Aid Convoy of Zaid al-Izza initiative that was launched in late July began entering into Gaza through the Karm Abu Salim and Awuja crossings. The convoy included tens of trucks carrying 10,000 tons of food, medical, and relief aid to meet the needs of the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip. The Israeli occupation forces stationed in both crossings will be examining the convoy. Under the Gaza ceasefire deal of 9th of October, Israel should allow massive aid efforts to reach Palestinians in the besieged enclave, but the UN agencies say the allowed amounts of aid are not sufficient to meet Gaza population's needs. Several Palestinians were injured on Monday, some seriously, after an Israeli occupation drone targeted a group of people in a town east of southern city of Khan Yunis. The Palestinian Wafa agency said the drone attack came as people were inspecting their houses in the area. Meanwhile, Israeli occupation forces withdrew from certain areas inside parts it controls in the Gaza Strip in order to allow Palestinians to continue search for the bodies of hostages in these parts. The withdrawal was made under pressure from mediator countries in the ceasefire deal under which Hamas was expected to return the remains of all dead Israeli hostages. Hamas has returned the remains of 15 hostages since the ceasefire began October 9th, but hasn't handed over any in the last 5 days, citing challenges posed by the massive destruction of Gaza due to the 2-year Israeli genocide war that claimed over 68,527 Palestinian martyrs. In Western Sudan, the governor of North Darfur State called for the protection of civilians in the province capital, El Fasher, which have been besieged by paramilitary troops for over a year. This came one day after the United Nations aid chief demanded a ceasefire and a safe access to aid to the city's civilians who have been trapped in El Fasher. The United Nations demand came after the paramilitary rapid support forces announced Sunday they had seized full control of the city. Tom Fletcher said in a statement that with the militants pushing further into the city and escape routes cut off, hundreds of thousands of civilians are trapped and terrified, starving, and without access to health care or safety. Russia's defense ministry said Monday it had downed 193 Ukrainian drones overnight, with local authorities reporting one person killed in the attack. The governor of the border region of Bryansk, that a minibus had been stuck in the village of Pogar, killing the driver and injuring 5 passengers. Russian forces in total downed 47 drones in Bryansk, with borders Ukraine, as well as 40 in the Moscow region, with most of those headed towards the capital. In another development, Russia's defense ministry said that Russian forces had captured 3 settlements in Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk and Zaporizhzhia regions. Hurricane Melissa rode towards Jamaica with a destructive Category 4 winds Monday. It was expected to strengthen further before making landfall on the Caribbean nation with up to 30 inches of rain and a life-threatening storm surge. Melissa sent in upcoming days. Welcome back. Egypt's bourse closed in fluctuation today amid purchases by Arab and foreign investors and local corporations against sell-off by local investors and Arab and foreign corporations. The market capital of listed companies added 2 billion Egyptian pounds, crossing 2.7 trillion pounds at the close of an average transactions of 31.2 billion pounds. The benchmark index EGX 30 rose 0.2% above 38,160 point mark. The equal weight indices EGX 70 and 100 fell 0.1% and 0.2% respectively. And in energy trading, oil prices have eased after climbing nearly 8% last week when the U.S. and European Union ratcheted up sanctions on Russian oil in an attempt to get Russian President Vladimir Putin to the bargaining table over its years-long conflict with Ukraine. London's Brent crude, the international standard, declined 37 cents to $64.83 a barrel, and U.S. benchmark crude oil gave up early gains, falling 38 cents to $61.12 per barrel. U.S. President Donald Trump arrived on Monday in Japan, where new Prime Minister Takashi is banking on building a friendly personal relationship with the United States leader to ease trade tensions. The meeting is an early diplomatic test for Takashi, the first woman to lead Japan. Trump said he was looking forward to meeting Takashi, a close ally of his late friend, former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The meetings in Japan come ahead of Trump's sit-down with Chinese leader Xi Jinping on Thursday in South Korea. And to the exciting world of sport, defending champions Pyramids held a 1-1 draw with host Ethiopian Insurance in the first leg of 32nd round of the CAF Champions League at the Air Defense Stadium. The second leg will be held next week at the same stadium, as their ground in Addis Ababa did not meet CAF approval, with Egyptian Stars needing a win or a goalless draw to pass through to the group stage after their first leg away win at the Ethiopian hosts. Pyramids won the competition in only their second appearance, beating Melody Sundowns of South Africa 3-2 on aggregate in the final. And goals from Mbappe and Bellingham earned Real Madrid a 2-1 victory over Barcelona in spiky El Clasico that snapped a 4-match losing streak against their rivals. Real moved to 27 points at the top of the La Liga standings, 5 ahead of Barcelona's in second. After 4 consecutive defeats to Barcelona across the competitions, Real Madrid entered the match like a team that was desperately in need of a statement win to validate the project of new manager Xabi Alonso. This brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned.